uh, that we follow the scriptural injunctions thoroughly. Srila Prabhupada gives instructions to Saucharya Devi. Another item is that you are married wife, so in that position you should serve your husband nicely, always being attentive to his needs, and in this way, because he is always absorbed in serving Krishna, by serving your husband you will also get Krishna through him. Well, hardly anybody has in the equal right movement believe that you have to serve husband this way. But actually, whether educated or not, to fulfill all the paradigms of attainment of a successful household life, even the time changes, but purposes are not changing. Time changes, but purposes are not changing. For the ideal thing. So, Prabhupada wrote personal instructions even in the beginning of the movement that people were hardly getting convinced. But nonetheless, Prabhupada gave so many instructions that they got sunk in the instructions. And they were careful that, these are all the details. And whenever some misunderstanding happens, these devotees, early devotees were clarifying immediately. No shame in asking. For example, in 74, Prabhupada was giving the instruction to newly married couple that he got that in Boston. And the groom thought that let me go and ask services. So Prabhupada said that will come. Prabhupada said, tell your wife to cook offer bhoga, and you go out and yell in the street, is there anybody hungry? Shout. And when they come, please come and take prasada. And then when people come and take prasada, then you give to your family members, and then both you and husband wife eat once. So the devotee thought, that we have to do every day, we know it. No, Prabhupada, there's something very special. Prabhupada repeated the same thing 3 times. Only to get laughter from all the audience. But this is the food for life, begins from home. Charity begins from home. So this principle has a very high value. Grhastas are supposed to do food for life. That is the best occupation. He is your spiritual master, but he must be responsible for giving you all spiritual help, teaching you as he advances his own knowledge and realization. That is the Vedic system. So, in the same letter, he is advising, just try to please Krishna always, and no material circumstances will be able to cause you any discomfort. So, these instructions are not, simply gimmick or a filler in advice. No. It is a very constructive advice, and one must try to follow. One should, as far as possible, avoid both negative attitudes and unrealistic expectations towards married life, as both may dampen one's enthusiasm. It is also essential to hold before oneself suitable criteria for a successful marriage. Marriage system or counseling in ISKCON is still very weak. That devotees need to take time to examine. It is not an expediting marriage system, and you go through certain criteria. One has to be qualified properly. Taking all other who are not going to be simply witness, but responsible in giving them supporting guidance. They should be also involved. And generally, there are very sour tales we have to handle, Counseling system. 2 marriages recommended by you may be performed at that time as well, but only after having sufficiently counseled the respective devotees. This marriage business should not be taken as a farce, but is a very serious matter. Recently, so many couples have been cast adrift by the waves of Maya's influence. That is hard to check, but still, the devotees must realize the responsibilities of the household life. So, marriage should be between responsible people, not irresponsible people. One may be responsible, other is not, then it's not going to last. We have to emphasize the responsibility and don't think that you are going to be done under the heaps of responsibility. No, responsibility is to be performed as the time comes. It's not to be done like in advance reservation that I'm making a person by, performing all the responsibilities, even they are not timely. Now be responsible according to time, place and circumstances. That is more practical. And there is no question of separation. Too much this has been happening and I am very much displeased. So during the time of Srila Prabhupada, it was difficult. So if they are promising not to separate under any circumstances, but to work cooperatively in the service of Lord, then my sanction is there for their marriage and my blessings as well, otherwise not. This is the letter to Bhagavan in Los Angeles, 7th July, 71. Now see how our thinking pattern is getting drifted in the modern times. Unaware that our actual wholeness is accessible internally. We simply find someone who outwardly conforms to our idea of an attractive person. Don't watch bowling. And use that individual as a screen upon which to project our fantasies in the form of hopes, fears and desires. This is the fantasy, fairyland. Another one. This process of externalization and projection usually lies at the origin of romantic love. And the romance endures as long as the illusion remains intact. So why do we have to wait till the illusion is busted? Then what is the use of crying crocodile's tears? Don't expect by watching the other so-called fantastic, they are not ideal. They never project any ideal. Most of us consider love to be feeling that ebbs and flows according to the circumstances. High, low, high, low, high, low. Then this is high, high, high. Despair, despair, despair. Be genuine, but genuine love is not linked to what we feel, nor does it depend on any external conditions. Real love is divine and cannot exist separately from the source, which is God. That's how Premopumartmahan is the Pancham Purushartha we have been given to achieve within this life. Develop love of God. Visualize a triangle with points A, B, and C. Support from the elders as far as possible and practical is important in entering into an marriage agreement. Oh, sorry, not arrangement. Not agreement, but arrangement. And today is the day of agreements. It is written on the paper. Agreement.
Agreement.
Yeah. Never enter into that. Because it is not a pre-calculated game or either projection subordination, expecting subordination from other, and then you want to get it returned. This is unfair situation. Not tangible, not intellectual. So this family tradition according to Vedic civilization was very strictly observed so that the family may be kept in order in religious principles. Why? Now, because the human life is meant for reviving his eternal position, Sanatan. This word is used here. Kula dharma Sanatana. Arjuna is talking about that. So, in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter 37, 38 and 39 verses, Arjuna is talking of his family traditions as a fear that he might become the cause of breaking the traditions. So we have to consider all these factors. Principle 5, mutual respect and appreciation. This is also been told, even in the case of Kardamuni and Devhuti. The proposal was there because Devhuti has been very intelligent and high ideals for the purpose of getting married to get the Lord as his son. And she has that target because she is very well aware. If the girls are there, they will find their own homes. But who will liberate the mother? Right? So, she was expecting from Kardamuni because she heard from Narada authoritatively that Lord Vishnu is very pleased with the devotional service of Kardamuni and he wants to appear as his son. Otherwise, do you think he would have cared? No, but this was the only hope for her. So respect for all others is a basic Vaishnava value. Prabhupada gives lectures in Nectar of Devotion in Vrindavan, October 23, 1972. Amani namanate bhakti. So he wants to give respects to everyone, but he doesn't expect any respect for himself. A Mahabhagavat is already to give respects to even an ant. And for himself he doesn't means he doesn't want any respect. Without mutual appreciation, it is not possible to develop more intimate relationships. A decline in appreciation will lead to a deteriorating relationship. One should learn to develop intimacy without familiarity. This is a beautiful verse coming in the life of the Devahuti when the marriage proposal was there. And after getting married, how did she develop this quality of two particular characters? Vishrambhenatma sauchena gauravena damena cha shashrushaya shauradena vacha madhuryaya cha bhoko. O Vidur, Devahuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of senses, with love and with sweet words. She didn't expect any reciprocation because he was in trance, meditating on the Supreme Lord. They just entered by the tight knot of, the Vedic marriage system for the ulterior purpose that she will be liberated by this marriage. Has anybody thought of liberation during getting married? It's a question. Anybody got the idea of getting liberated when they got married? We do not. Yet we perform all the ideal rituals which are belonging to Lord Vishnu. The bridegroom is worshipped like Lord Vishnu, and the bride is Lakshmi. And it's a mutual performance of arti ceremony when you receive. It's not for liberation. Nobody thinks they want. No, they think of money, how much exchange, how much dowry will be coming, this. And these are ulterior motivations. So, remember these two particular essential characteristics in serving attitude of a wife to her husband. These are two important processes in serving the husband or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishrambhena means with intimacy, and Gauravena means great reverence. So, I didn't touch. The husband is a very intimate friend. Therefore, the wife must render service just like an intimate friend. And at the same time, she must understand that the husband is superior in position and that she must offer him all respects. Gauravena, that increases the glorification of the wife. And the chastity is dependent upon these two factors, Vishrambhena and Gauravena. Principle 6, commitment and dedication. With determination and unshakable commitment, one can surmount inevitable hard times that come in married life. When we get married, we ever think like Cinderella story, and they happily live ever after. Hard times are there, and preparation for the hard time is through the cultivation of that culture of resilience and keep the fire burning. Right? Sukanya chavanam prapya patim paramakopanam priyanam asut chittagya apramatta anubhruttihi. Chavan Muni was very irritable. But since Sukanya had gotten him as her husband, she dealt with him carefully, according to his mood, knowing his mind, she performs services to him without being bewildered. What a psychological application. How to deal. Chavan Muni, Chavan Prash is a health booster. Chavan Prash. That Chavan Muni is by nature very angry. So, but his wife is very adaptive to the circumstances which are going to be created by anger. So she was dealing appropriately, that anger would be nullified. If any wife wants to be happy with her husband, she must try to understand her husband's temperament and please him. This is victory for a woman. When the wife becomes as irritable as the husband, the life at home is sure to be disturbed or ultimately completely broken. In the modern day, the wife is never submissive and therefore home life is broken even by slight incidents. Very simple understanding, but it is true. Second, affection and love doesn't happen automatically, as in popularized concept of romantic love, but are developed through service. They never show on the silver screen how one is serving to the other. So, do you think you have to simply imagine whatever they show? We should not expect love to descend on us just like an attack of epilepsy. Do you know what is the remedy to get rid of the epilepsy? Take an onion, smash it, and put on the nose. Yeah, and epilepsy will be gone. Love is not something we can turn on and off like a faucet. In our society, we often do not understand this. In such a state of consciousness, we are constantly looking for something outside of ourselves instead of tapping the wellspring of love within. How many people are watching the YouTubes? Oh my God, watch out. Don't get misled. That is not real. People are venting their fantasy out of that. Love develops through service. On the other hand, when we are genuinely loving, we are not concerned with ourselves at all. Has Radharani even shown a kind of fatigue on herself in serving Lord Krishna with love? Because it springs from the heart, and the heart dictates what to do to contain the husband. Love is a word we emphasize, appreciate, share, help and give. And we are not trying to feel good or control the environment to enhance our own pleasure. Be realistic. Oh, I loved him so much, yet, he didn't appreciate. Do you think, is this a shock? Our whole life is not like a shop. Love is not sold there. We express our love by what we do. If someone professes love for another, but he is unwilling to serve that person, the love is not deep. It's a superficial, and you can't lead to love. The deeper the love, the more we will express it by selfless service to the object of our love. Now, this kind of understandings, they are so straightforward and simple to administer in our life. Our preparedness is not there. Because we become selfish and bodily concept, and we are cheated every time. Whomever we trust in the beginning will become a sword in our life. Happily they live. As soon as there is no quarrel between the husband and wife, the home will be happy. And as soon as there is misunderstanding between husband and wife, it will be hell. So the principle is the husband honestly tries to earn livelihood, and at home the wife should be also intelligent that whatever money the husband has earned, she will manage. And the household wife, they are expert right now to manage the money of the husband. No, really. There is a tradition in our Hindu families that those who are housewives, they do not go out and earn. But the husband gives them and they take, but they start frugally saving some. Hide such money because she knows that emergency is coming with share. The credit goes to her at such time. Principle 7, open and honest communications. One should set aside quality time for heart-to-heart communication with one's spouse and children. One should maintain open dialogues with appropriate others and avoid denial, especially on the sensitive issues, as for example, intimacy and sex life. The beauty is that when love is mutual, partners can resolve the issues together. Even if we believe that we are not at fault, we can ask our partner, how can I change? What can I do? What do you think would be the most spiritual way to address this? So we have to retain our target at the same time practical status quo of harmony without dispute. Principle 8 is personal and social responsibility. Entering the Grhasta ashram is an opportunity to take on more Krishna conscious responsibility. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 27th chapter, 1st verse, the purport, if a husband and wife combine together in Krishna consciousness and live together peacefully, that is very nice. However, if a husband becomes too much attracted by his wife and forgets his duty in life, the implications of materialistic life will again resume. Instead of Grhasta, he will become Grahamedi. Devotees can preach effectively by demonstrating responsibility, integrity, and other exemplary qualities that are also, if not found in the household world, how to do that outside? It's a hypocrite. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 14th chapter, 49th verse, the purport, he was endowed with all good qualities. That is the sign of a pure devotee. He is always eager to mitigate the miseries of suffering, humanity. The most obnoxious misery of the living entity is his forgetfulness of Krishna. A pure devotee, therefore, always tries to evoke Everyone's Krishna consciousness. This is the pinnacle of for all the saints. They had some music. Principle 9. Isn't it going fast? No, we'll have to cover all the 12. Right? Then we will throw the questions, get the answers, and get those questions on. An important householder duty is to ethnically generate wealth or ethically generate wealth and prosperity. A devotee should avoid an unhealthy poverty mentality, understanding the benefits of prosperity, both individually and to promote Krishna consciousness. Don't become miser. Earn as much as you can, but use it in Krishna consciousness. And last time we discussed about 50-50. Again, we will throw that question, because most of the people do not know what is 50-50. Attachment and detachment, important elements of spiritual life, are essential in marriage. The question is exactly what are we attached to? Our attachment should lie in offering everything to the Lord, whether it is our family, house, work, or possession. Oh my God, you are going to throw away everything to Lord Krishna's face. What about me? That is a Sukracharya mentality. Vaman, they wanted to give everything. And a spiritual master knew. I'm sorry. Bali Maharaj knew that his spiritual master is wrong. He's not spiritual, he's a material master. So he rejected him. How could you prevent the proprietor of everything not to take from me? And then what is my charity? So, attachment and detachment, important elements of spiritual life, are essential in marriage. The question is exactly what are we attached to is 64,000 question. What are we attached? Material or spiritual? Spiritual attachment is positive attachment. But material attachment is a negative attachment, and this attachment we have to become detached from. Bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Ityasu Jnanam Vairagyam Chat. If we worship Lord Sri Krishna, then these two must come as a concomitant fact. There is no prerequisite to generate. It is automatically, if ahetuki knowledge means the knowledge of the absolute truth, Lord Shri Krishna, and detachment from the worldly matter. Both are the product of devotional service. They are not prerequisite. Many foolish jnana yogis, they say, oh, first you must have knowledge and then you do bhakti. Who said that? Many impersonalists are baffled by this. It's not the opinion of Lord Krishna, nor Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should always refer to the context in the revealed scriptures and follow very strictly. Prabhupada brought this strict following. He never compromised with this kind of situations that become so much remaining attached to materialism. They will have a lot of excuses not to surrender, because ignorance is not allowing to surrender. So attachment and detachment are important elements in spiritual life. Our attachment should lie in offering everything to the Lord, whether it is our family, house, work, or possession. Sara gava dena. generally we think our parental heritage is more important, more prestigious. Because at least our parents are not dying indebted. If the father becomes the debtor, then he works like as an enemy in her. ऋण करता पिता शत्रु, माता शत्रु व्यभिचारिणी, रूपवती भार्या शत्रु, पुत्र शत्रु अपंडिता. Four are enemies within the house. They are like pinprick in the life. If the father, becomes indebted, the responsibility will go on his son. So father works like an indebted, an enemy of the house. He is not doing any good for the house. Similarly, if a mother becomes a prostitute and tries to live a self-gratificatory life, not caring for her duties in the house, she is also like an enemy. If a beautiful wife comes, she thinks she is the attraction of the whole world. Why not of the house? And she wants to subjugate others. So everybody thinks, she thinks himself so selfish. So Rupavati Bharya Shatra, she becomes a pinprick in the life of household. And if a son is illiterate and idiot, then he is also a pinprick in the house. He must learn. He must learn how to navigate everybody's life in joint family or whatever, the responsibility. So, on the other behalf, the generation of prosperity is not out of etiquette. Oh, I'm a devotee, why should I generate so much? Are Baba, generate as much as, because Krishna is proprietor. You are not the proprietor. You can generate so much for Lord Shri Krishna. Otherwise you will be a miser. A miser is a selfish person. Doesn't know the value of the wealth. So economic development and prosperity in ideal household of life has never been, criticized. Why? Because charity is essential duty of Grhasta. We need the source of charity. One newly married devotee asked Prabhupada that could he do in order to make his married life successful? Srila Prabhupada replied, when you have finished cooking and offering prasad, go out in the street and call out loudly, is anyone hungry? When you have fed anyone who is hungry, then you and your family can sit and take your meal. Thinking that Srila Prabhupada had not clearly heard his question, the devotee again asked. And what he could do is to make his married life successful, and to which Srila Prabhupada patiently repeated the same answer. When you have finished cooking and offering prasad, go out into the street and call out loudly, is anyone hungry? When you have fed everyone who is hungry, then you and your family can sit and take your milk. Yet again the devotee thought that he had not been heard correctly. He asked again, only to receive the same reply for the third time. Principle 10, focus on children's welfare. Nurturing spiritually qualified children is the main purpose of married life. A relationship is an arrangement made by God to give us the opportunity to reciprocate His love for us. As we care for a husband, wife, or children, we gain the motivation to offer them the best of ourselves, even beyond what is necessary, because they belong to God. Our children are not ours alone, they are the children of God. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
You have been signing too. Eh? During the marriage of Satsurup and Jadurani in New York, September 5, 1968, Prabhupada is in. So in our association, we welcome this sort of marriage between trained brahmachari and brahmacharini, so that we can welcome nice children for future Krishna conscious generation. That is our viewpoint. What is the use of marriage if the reproductive systems do not work? Make sure. In July 31st, 1976, near Mayapur, means in France, Jyotirmayi. Because you were saying that parents can keep their children and teach them themselves, like Arundhati is teaching Aniruddha. So does it mean that the parents can, Prabhupada interjects, he complained that my boy is not being properly, so I said that you teach your son, Jyotirmayi. And she can keep him and teach him all the time until he is older and so on. Jyotirmayi started the first initial Gurukul. Her husband Yogeshwar Prabhu, a good friend of mine, in 1976 onwards, and 340 West 55th Street, New York. They were somewhat pioneer. Yogeshwar then started Bala books, publishing children's books. That was the onset of the Gurukul system. But at the same time, Big Mishak come, that New York temple was divided into 5 temples, and what a big mess. And we suffered. I was given one time. I became president of ISKCON of Queens to install Srinathji Devi. And then everything started falling down. Not a single temple was surviving. They had hard time and this and that. Miscalculations. Anyway, but everybody suffered a lot. So Yogeshwar has also to close down his Bala books. Frequently he writes something, then after, but still not enough to establish. But still he runs, without much productions. But this is the conversation. Jyotirmayi was very intuitive. She's from France. Jyotirmayi says, and she can keep him and teach him all the time, means homeschooling. The idea of homeschooling starts from it. Until he is older or so on. So Prabhupada is replying, yes. And that is the duty of the father and mother. Along with that, he can teach others also. These things are to be organized, but some way or other, our students should be given education and spiritual life, Krishna consciousness. Individually, collectively, somehow or other, the principle is laid down there. Brahmachari Gurukule Vasantantam Gurukritam. That is the beginning. Everything is there. We have to simply follow it. We have not got to manufacture anything. That is the waste of time. Whatever is there, you follow. Letter to Chaya, Devidasi, February 16, 1972. All the children should learn to read and write very nicely and little mathematics so that they can be able to read our books. Cooking, sewing, things like that do not require schooling. They are learned simply by association, and that is for the girls, trained up by their mothers. There is no question of academic education for either boys or girls. Simply a little mathematics and being able to read and write well, that's all, no universities. Do you think Prabhupada is still correct?
Yes.
Because he's Prabhupada, he must be correct. But you have to find out how he is correct. Their higher education, they will get from our books. And other things that they will get from experience, like preaching, Sankirtan party, etc. Alongside the regular classes in reading and writing and other routine programs, they should also participate in like Arti, Kirtan, preaching, Sankirtan, like that. At 12 years, they can be initiated. You got it, at least that part correct. Children should not be neglected for any reason. As example, in the name of spiritual life. When we act as caretaker instead of proprietors, we try to please the Lord in our interactions with those close to us, because we understand that everyone is a representative of God. If parents did not feed their children properly, provide proper education, or take proper care of their health, the Lord would be displeased. That doesn't mean go to public school and learn nasty things along with little, competitiveness with others. Financial stability is necessary to help fulfill children's needs. Proactive steps must be taken to avoid all forms of child abuse, and yet happen. Neglecting Prabhupada's, orders. Child abuse, the complete perspective by Dutta Karmadas, that was given in Back to Godhead magazine number 1908, 1984. It goes without saying that everything possible should be done to protect children from nightmarish horrors of sexual abuse. But a thoughtful person trained in spiritual principles of Krishna consciousness can see the whole issue of protecting children in more thorough and all-encompassing perspective. Devotees of Krishna believe that children should be protected right from the very beginning of their existence. Krishna-conscious married couples engage in sex only for the purpose of conceiving a child, thus ensuring that every child is loved and wanted. To not give the child a chance to take full advantage of the opportunity to return to its real home in the spiritual world is to condemn it to the painful experience of death and rebirth, perhaps in a species lesser than human. That is child abuse. Isn't it? This is a very strong statement by Guru Karnataka. Krishna conscious parents also desire to protect their children from the ultimate form of suffering. Principle 11, the family love and affection. It is natural to have affection for others, and especially other Vaishnavas. Krishna consciousness does not accrue from simply negating or stifling worldly affection, nor are family ties necessary as, for example, at every stage of life, an impediment to Krishna consciousness. As part and parcel of God, we naturally belong to the culture of love, liberation, and constant celebration. When we extend this love and joy to others, we experience ever-deepening level of God's love. The world sorely needs a deeper sense of community and a more mature understanding of personal happiness, both of which depend upon our willingness to raise individual and collective consciousness by sharing our love with others. A stable emotional background where family members feel wanted and appreciated is essential for children's personal and spiritual growth. There is more deeper silence. But do you agree? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Now you, husband and wife, must work together combinedly with great responsibility for raising your new child in ideal Krishna consciousness. Children learn by imitation of their parents. So if you both set Krishna conscious example, the child will very naturally and easily become advanced in Krishna consciousness by following. I wrote a letter to Jagadish in Los Angeles, 9 July 1970. There is a great value in a strong sense of community as traditionally expressed through the extended family, not a nuclear family. So, even though we chose nuclear family, Prabhupada brought a very close network of families. Kulakshay pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo abhukta. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in religion. This is Arjuna is telling. In the system of Varnashram Institute, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain virtual values. The older members are responsible for such purifying process in the family, beginning from birth to death. Their presence is required. They are not burdened. So people should not send them to old age homes. But on the death of an elder member, such family traditions of purification may stop, and remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance for spiritual salvation. So better always have some seniors around us and do not discard them as invalid. Regulation, this is the last one. Principle 12, regulated, balanced and exemplary lifestyle. So regulation is an important feature of devotee life, especially for the householders who have to juggle many different types of responsibilities. Letter to Govinda Das, 6 February 75. My dear Sri Govinda Das, concerning the woman's duty, if she gets married, that does not necessarily mean that she must give up any of her services in the temple or on Sankirtan. But she must also see to it that her husband and her household duties are not neglected. Devotees moving to the second ashram that is Grhasta ashram, should anticipate significant changes in lifestyle. Some difficulties in establishing a balanced and regulated lifestyle are to be expected, and one should seek suitable support and guidance. In a loving relationship, each difficulty in our life becomes a challenge by glorifying, or a challenge to glorify and serve Lord. When we care about someone, The hard times are wonderful because they demonstrate the need for greater communication, both internal communication and external social communication within the devotees. So one has opportunity to advance by internal communication. Because our partner did not receive our words or actions in loving spirit, we see a need for love. This gives us an exciting opportunity to serve and support the well-being of other person. This is the great art of doing work. And in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance. Householders should maintain their spiritual priorities, as for example, sadhana, as well as upholding their more worldly obligations. Preaching without practical example is not effective. Devotee householders should demonstrate such exemplary lifestyle that others become inquisitive as to what underlies their success. The letter to Chaya in 16 February 72. You asked about marriage. Yes, actually I want that every woman in the society should be married. But what is this training to become wives and mothers? No school is required for that. She wanted to open a training school. Simple. No school is required for that, simply association. In a television interview, July 1975, Chicago, Prabhupada is speaking. Man is regulated to become a first-class man, and woman is regulated to become a very chaste and faithful wife. Then the life will be very successful. So, Prabhupada was bold enough to even speak the same truth to the unknown people, not practicing people. Because unknown people, they are in miserable conditions and they do not have a clue what is the alternative. So, summary of 12 principles: alignment with Srila Prabhupada, spiritual growth and progress, spiritual equality, material difference, positive and realistic vision, mutual respect and appreciation, commitment and dedication has been explained. Then open and honest communication, personal and social responsibilities, economic development, prosperity, focus on children's welfare, family love and affection, and regulated, balanced and exemplary lifestyle. Out of these 12, do you think something is not discussed? That's your problem. This covers a very comprehensive and successful practical applicatory process. It's written in simple English, but all these principles are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada picked up to make it easy for our assimilation. Okay, now there are 7 qualities to strive to develop to strengthen your marriage or to seek in a prospective marriage partner. Balanced, you anticipate a balanced husband. A respectful, a good listener, humble, faithful to the Supreme Lord, free from addictions and compatibility. Generally, there is a tradition to show the compatibility by astrological calculations. And out of 36 marks, how many are achieved? Then you decide. If it is less than half, don't get into marriage. If it is more than half, good. Something?
No.
No. Hare Krishna. There are 7 minutes, so can have question, answers.
How can anyone access these programs?
What is that?
How do we get the facility?
Oh, here it is. The sources and suggested readings. Okay, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam, a North American Grhasta vision team that I was talking, that involved several Matajis. 2 Matajis from Cleveland, Iowa. They are from Black American. Then spiritual warrior transforming lust into love by Bhakti-Tirtha Swami has been also there. So references are there, and this vision team, Vaishnava family, Grhasta vision team, was engaged by the governing body commission and ILS to develop. They took about 3 years to develop the whole program. But I don't know how much it has been spread around. I give 6-day full seminars on this. So we discuss a lot of things. Today I just read it off. So any question?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to make one comment that actually, whoever who asked you this question, it's actually a sign of his humility. Because both himself and Kamalini, we're very fortunate to have them in our community. They've actually set a beautiful example of Grhastas working together.
Yes? Good for life.
And their children, their son is engaged in traveling all over the world and, giving the holy name to everyone. And he has a nice wife and child in Rajwa. And his daughter, Gauranga Priya, teaches dance, tries to bring people together in spiritual life. And they encourage each other. Over the years, they've gone through, like you said, all the difficulties, because I've known them for years, you probably have too. They've had to go through a lot of difficulties and then humbly looking at it, being introspective. But they're still here and still trying to serve Krishna. So I think that they're a really good example for Grhastas to ask things to. Take advantage of these senior devotees in our community, like Tristan and Rajani also, that have been living household life, gone through all the difficulties, raised children, and they're still trying to serve. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Precept is always better. But an example is the best. So, there are some sincere souls who are trying to live by such guidance. And if there are happy results, there must be worth as an offering to Lord Krishna. There is no indirect service to Krishna, it is all direct service to Krishna. Once Prabhupada was asked, her mother was, she was a Sankirtan devotee, and she happened to be having one child, and she had difficulty to find somebody babysitting and not to go on Sankirtan. So we went to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada encouraged her. To raise your child in Krishna consciousness, this is the only duty for the mother. because this is a practical way to teach others. And you have obligation to teach your own child. So there is no other separate Sankirtan that you can do. This is Sankirtan. Sankirtan begins from the house. Like charity begins from house or home, Sankirtan begins. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the class. How can we, still in one of the slide, Srila Prabhupada says for the education for the children, like he talks about basic education like reading, writing, and sewing, simple things like how can we interpret to the current, now we wanted to send our children to the universities and stuff like that.
Because you were educated and you want your sons to go to the same education because you think it is a successful, but it's a temporary thing. Let's see, permanent education is later. Now you have picked up that permanent education and also bringing your child to take advantage of the permanent education. That is very well appreciated. But as far as our insistence on getting the academics, soon you will come to see that academics will have no value. It is decreasing. When you do not have enough employment, even PhDs are doing sweeping business. I have seen many doctors in about 20 years back that they were not able to succeed and get the authorization to practice in US. They were working as assistant to clinic of somebody who can use them. What is the value of education? The standard changes. Even the doctors are facing so much problem due to not competitiveness, but because of taking disadvantage. Either they become very wealthy, so it becomes pinprick in the society. How the Indian doctors are so much successful. But actually, they are having a lot of other strategical denial. They have to appear in the certifying, the practice every 2 years that they have to appear. How many for re-registration? How many times?
Can the academics be doubted to Krishna consciousness? Whoever is well educated or has some influence in the society, can they be of some instrument to bring Krishna into their lives?
That is something, a contradictory and conflicting idea, right? Where it is not an inviting subject matter. It is a very thoughtful situation, but it is applied in the conscious studies are coming under what? Some sociology. Many universities started the conscious studies, right? But again on a different terms. Our Rasaraj Prabhu, head of BI, Berkeley and Mumbai, he is using quantum mechanics to apply that. So it is only a part of the educated group is going to be convinced but they may not practice it. They may see superiority of Vedic knowledge that is presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, and they want to compare as quantum the instructions are in quantum. Then, but they are appreciating, but everybody is not taking it. Inclusion is there, directly or indirectly. Conscious study means it's anti-material study.
Would there be a greater opportunity to distribute bhakti and holy name?
No, unless they will come to the point of getting beaten by the material nature. Then they will have to change their paradigm. Meanwhile, we are not supposed to preach to the atheist. We can't waste our time. Number 9 offense. So we can't go out of our way to become so much benevolent. You can't afford abuse to the devotees. So let's have a very pragmatic, strategical approach to the educated mass. And why only in one, say the field of medicine or geography or any field? The technicality is given in third canto of the creation, creative energy. Embryology is given in the sixth canto. All the astronomical and the development of the and spreading out of the universal creation is given in the third canto also. They are barefoot, all right? And to make it easy during that time, you have to resort to some atheistic philosophy. Therefore, Vyasadeva has few atheistic disciples who were experts. Jaimini on Karma Mimamsa, Kanadrushi on atomic theory. Atomic theory. Everything starts from atom. The split of the atom. So much. And many Indian scientists who were engaged in the sun laboratory to split the atom to find out God particle 12 years back. You don't know those things? Yeah, I'm a little bit interested because I have similar background. Right? But even Vedavyasapriya is also interested because he has a science background too. So the idea is that such a paradigm to put is a very bold step. And that was done under the tutelage of Bhakti Swarup Maharaj, our good friend from Binghamton University, Tataput Prabhu. The Karma was also involved. And they wrote very, very boldly about the ulterior paradigm to prove the spiritual aspects. They have written often, and they were the pioneers in establishing the interfaith conferences in science and religion. And it was a laudable effort because they were involving Nobel laureates. Now nobody is after they are gone. It has to keep rewind within their own circle and parameters. Prabhupada already established that there will be need of synthesis of science and religion. The Bhaktivedanta Institute was thus created by him. Our education in the material life simply is the verification for need of spiritual. Because it is all imperfect, simply bluffing, make it a big business and play God. These are the activities of atheism. To contradict them, our theistic science is very feeble. So there are two sides of that. And there is a significant dent in the side of material science was there. Prabhupada wrote the very first book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, citing the top two Nobel laureates given prize for postulating antimatter or anti-particular field. The world is a particular, material world is a particular field. But there is also another world, parastasmatu bhavamya vyakta vyaktasanata. That is anti-material world in Prabhupada. This is in 1956 or 1959. The first book he wrote was Easy Journey to Other Planets. And the very first chapter is describing and contradicting. Prabhupada jobs them thoroughly. Is your soul material particle or anti-material particle? Anti-material particle. Now, you are the winner. Material particles are going to collapse after some time, right? And we cannot be the ignorant of it. Or we can't duck our head because the storm will be coming, like a camel or an ostrich in the sun. Done? Oh. Do we have time?
The children actually, so today the Sunday school children are coming to serve the prasadam, so they're all ready and waiting, so they're getting excited like when other people are going to come.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine with me. But I just try to give some glimpse only, reading 12 points today. So we'll see in the future if we can have some time to expand this idea. Go slow. Anybody has some sincerity towards developing spiritual Grhasta for the benefit of the whole humanity. Then we can put it again. All right. Thank you very much. Prabhupada.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for bringing up these 12 points and all like Prabhupada's quotes on these 12 points. So a lot for us to think about, a lot for us to how to actually practically implement these principles in life. But very wonderful compilation, and certainly I'm sure.
Old stuff.
Old stuff.
Maybe 12, 15 years back. And how come people are not knowing?
I'm sure everyone here is interested to know more in depth, and we look forward to your association again, where we can go more in depth in each one of these 12 principles. Thank you so much, Maharaj. So let's loudly express our gratitude to Maharaj for coming here to New Goloka Dham, and then for last from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, blessing us with wonderful association and wonderful classes. So let's give a big Haribol to Maharaj. His Holiness Vedavyasapriya Maharaj ki